Okay, so today is day 48 of Bible in 90 days, or What's in the Bible. Been such a great journey, so far, getting to know what the Bible says, or, trying to get a summary or the big picture or an outline or, a brief of what the entire Bible says, because, we know so far anyway that it's all one story or things that happened within the story. So it's good just to get an overview of what the entire, Bible says. So today we are finishing off the book of Proverbs that we started, I think yesterday. No, day before yesterday. So we're reading Proverbs 21 to 31, which is the end. Then we're going to get into a new book, which is still a part of the writings, which is Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and chapter 2, which was also written by Solomon. So, like we did yesterday, because Proverbs is our saying, it was the wisdom of Solomon. It is so dense and so hard to kind of pick off and try and summarize, because each sentence or each verse that you're looking at is its own idea, its own topic. So, in order to summarize that, I would have to summarize every line. So what I said yesterday was, please find time to read the book of Proverbs for yourself. Find time to read the entire Bible for yourself. But now that we're here, so what I've done today, instead of writing the verse down and reading it, I think that would just lengthen the video. What I've done is today I've highlighted the verses, so I'll just read through them, the verses that I thought were interesting, or verses that stuck out to me. So Proverbs 21 to 30 to 31. So 21 verse 1, the king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. Verse 2, all these are right in the sight of the doer, but the Lord weighs the heart. Verse 3, to do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Verse 9, it is better to live in a corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a contentious wife. Verse 23, to watch over mouth and tongue is to keep out of trouble. Verse 30, no wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against God. Proverbs 22 verse 2, the rich and the poor have this in common: the Lord is the maker of them all. Verse 7, the rich rule over the poor, but the borrower is the slave of the lender. Verse 15, folly or foolishness is bound up in the heart of a boy, but the rod of discipline drives it far away. Proverbs 23 verse 4, do not wear yourself out to get rich, but be wise enough to desist. Verse 13, do not withhold discipline from your children. If you beat them with a rod, they will not die. Chapter 24 verse 13, my child, eat honey, for it is good, and the drippings of the honeycomb are sweet to your taste. Verse 17, do not rejoice when your enemies fall, and do not let your heart be glad when they stumble, or else the Lord will see it and be displeased and turn his anger away from him. Verse 26, one who gives an honest answer gives a kiss on the lips. Verse 27, prepare your work outside and get everything ready for you in the field, and after that build your house. Verse 29, do not say, I will do to others as they have done to me. I will pay back for what they have done. Verse 33 and 34, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed warrior. Chapter 25 verse 12, like a gold ring or an ornament of gold is a wise rebuke to a listening ear. Verse 17, let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, otherwise the neighbor will become weary of you and hate you. Verse 28, like a city breached without walls is one who lacks self-control. Verse 26, chapter 26, verse 4, do not answer fools according to their folly, or you will be a fool yourself. Answer fools according to their folly, or they will be wise in their own eyes. Verse 11, like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who reverts to his folly. Verse 12, do you see a person wise in their own eyes, there is more hope for fools than for them. Verse 20. For lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, quarreling ceases. Chapter 27. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Verse 5. Better is an open rebuke than hidden love. Verse 6. Well meant are the wounds a friend inflicts, but profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Verse 12. The clever see danger and hide, but the simple go on and suffer for it. Verse 15. A continual dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike. To restrain her is to restrain the wind, or to grasp oil in the right hand. Verse 17. Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens the wits of another. Verse 21. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold. So a person is tested by being praised. Verse 23. Know well the condition of your flocks, and give attention to your herds. For riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. Chapter 28, verse 6. Better to be poor and walk in integrity than to be crooked in one's ways, even though rich. Verse 9. When one would not listen to the law, even one's prayers are an abomination. Verse 15. Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. Verse 16. A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but one who hates unjust gain will enjoy a long life. Verse 19. Anyone who tills the land will have plenty of bread, but one who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. Verse 20. The faithful will abound with blessing, but one who is in a hurry to be rich will not go unpunished. Verse 23. Whoever rebukes a person will afterward find more favor than one who flatters with the tongue. Chapter 29. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. Verse 11. A fool gives full vent to anger, but the wise quietly holds it back. Verse 13. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. Verse 16. When the wicked are in authority, transgression increases, but the righteous will look upon their downfall. Verse 20. Do you see someone who is hasty in speech? There is more hope for a fool than for anyone like that. Verse 26. Many seek the favor of a ruler, but it is from the Lord that one gets justice. Chapter 30, verse 5. Every word of God proves true. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Verse 6. Do not add to his words, or else he will rebuke you, and you will be found a liar. Verse 24 to 28. 4 things on earth are small, yet they're exceedingly wise. The ants are a people without strength, yet they provide their food in the summer. The badgers are a people without power, yet they make their homes in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet all of them march in rank. The lizard can be grasped in the hand, yet it is found in kings' palaces. Chapter 31, verse 30. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. So that's the end of the book of Proverbs. Make time to read that, because there's a lot of things in there, just wisdom, tips for how to live, tips for how to relate with others, and tips for just how humanity works and the world works or whatever. So, when you get a chance, please read through the book of Proverbs. So Ecclesiastes. So now we stop that, method of doing things, back to what we've been doing before. So Ecclesiastes 1 and 2, we know that the book of Ecclesiastes was written by Solomon. People say it was closer to, when he was much older and he had learned a lot of things, etc., plus the wisdom that God had given him anyway. But these are some of the observations that he says, he had made. I actually really, really like the book of Ecclesiastes because Solomon, as far as the world is concerned, we can actually say he had been there and done that. He had all the money, all the wisdom, all the power, all the everything, that anybody could ever hope for. So his parting wisdom here, given by God, obviously, I think is important to to take a grasp of. So Ecclesiastes 1, it seems that it's almost like a rant, or um, crying out for some kind of injustice, where he's talking about everything is meaningless, that there is nothing new under the sun, that things are the same, that the more wisdom you get, the more sorrow you will find, that life in general is a chasing after the wind. So basically, we know based on other scriptures, etc., that some of this stuff has to be interpreted in that light. But at this point, we are finding out how the book is starting. But when we get to the end of Ecclesiastes, he will actually then tell us what the conclusion of all his findings were. Ecclesiastes 2, that's where he talks about being there and done that he had all the pleasure in life, all the laughter, all the wine. He had built houses and vineyards, and different parks, and he had servants, and he had flocks and possessions, all the silver, all the gold, all the entertainment, all the women. And he still also had his wisdom. After this, it then says, yeah, people will still die anyway. And how he was seeing it almost as an injustice, that some people will enjoy what they didn't work for. So he is commending at this point that people should just eat, drink, and find enjoyment in life, and the fact that all joy actually comes from the Lord. So it's almost like he's come to the end of his life and is beginning to share some wisdom on how he saw what life was like, and how the way of the world was. So tomorrow we actually continue in Ecclesiastes, and we finish Ecclesiastes. Then we get into the book of Songs of Songs, which was also written by Solomon, or a collection of some of the the poems between him and his wife. And that would be the end of the section called the Writings, which leads us into the last section of the Old Testament, which is now the prophets. So by the time we finish off the prophets, we will be getting into the New Testament. So we are almost very, very close to the New Testament. So hopefully that is helpful. I will see you guys tomorrow.